Thanks for visiting Patient and the Weather today. I'm meteorologist Al Peterlin. I'd like to talk about the weather health stresses for August 28, 2026. We keep additional graphics at tpatw.com. We maintain a storefront on Amazon. And of course, for this day, we're anticipating a full moon. Looking at the surface map, we have a little bit of a bubble low here in the panhandle of Utah, little bit of a frontal system hanging all the way really from that low across Cheyenne up to Minneapolis, and lots of unsettled weather here in the northern Rockies up to the northern plains. Monsoon still in full force down here in the south. The frontal system in the east stretches all the way from Boston to Asheville and all the way down pretty close to Mobile, with unsettled weather all the way from southern Louisiana up to D.C. and across Florida. Looking at our vitality index, you can see the focus of our attention is going to be shifted to the west a very lot here in California up into Idaho, a little bit of activity up the plains, always something along the Gulf and the eastern seaboard. Otherwise, rather stable and quite nice stagnant August weather. Looking at pressure change, finally a little bit of pressure change. We have some falling pressure in the Dakotas, south and north, actually stretching down just into the northernmost portions of Nebraska. But we have rising pressure, and as we get there, you'll see falling dew points all the way across from northern Ohio, across northern Pennsylvania, basically Erie, across all of upstate New York into Vermont, northern New Hampshire, and Maine, and taking in all of the Canadian cities from Windsor to Ottawa. Looking at temperature change, actually a little bit of interest. We still have those high temperatures from Texas across to LA, but note that we have some falling temperatures here across central northern California, Nevada, and up into Idaho. Looking at the change in dew point temperature and vapor pressure, very consistently we have rising vapor pressure, rising dew points here across northern California into Oregon and up into really Montana. A little bit of the same happening with rising vapor pressure across the Dakotas. Note the falling vapor pressure significantly up and down the northeast, all the way down through much of Texas, the southern and central plains. Good news for the instability area. We're going to have a little less of the activity with the showers and unsettled weather, although there's always that little bit of flow up into the Texas panhandle, up to the Nebraska panhandle, and then spottily across the southeast. Interesting aspect here in the Ohio Valley. Looking at the change in oxygen availability, it's a significant change from recent past as we have a migraine risk from central and northern California across Nevada into Idaho and actually touching on into south central Montana. We also have another risk of migraine here across Alabama up into the Tennessee Valley, but mostly across Georgia and all the way up the eastern seaboard, getting quite significant here in northern Virginia, and then picking up sharply in northern Ohio into eastern Michigan, across northern Pennsylvania, all of New York, Vermont, the northernmost portions of New Hampshire and Maine, but really significant taking in the Canadian cities Windsor to Ottawa. Looking at asthma and arthritis, interesting here, southern Florida, a real risk of asthma and arthritis, risk of asthma and arthritis across southern New Mexico into basically about Amarillo and up in the portions of West Texas, picking up significantly again in Nebraska, western South Dakota, up into western North Dakota. Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather. Your comments are appreciated. If you hurt, tell us where you're located.